Hi. Okay, so this is going to be my 25 weeks pregnancy vlog. I just turned 26 weeks today. So the way that I do my vlogs, my pregnancy vlogs, like I've mentioned in a lot of my previous videos, is that I like to record at the end of the segment that I'm talking about, so that what I'm talking about in the video is that specific week. I am now officially in the 3rd trimester, which is really terrifying. Exciting, but terrifying. Very terrifying. I'm wearing owls in my ear today. Yay for owls. I always end up putting my hair behind my ear at some point. I've noticed that within a lot of my videos. So a lot of you are going to notice in this video it's not anywhere near as lighthearted as my previous pregnancy vlog, and that's because I'm just going to be completely honest with you guys. I've had really shit week. Like the shittest week ever. And today is the 22nd of March, so that's just to kind of give you guys a correlation of my shitty mood when it actually is, and I don't know when this video is going to go up. In my last pregnancy vlog that I filmed, I was feeling really good. I was feeling really happy, and I've been feeling quite happy for, you know, a few weeks or so, I'd say. Like, I don't know, it's hard to explain because I've never really made a video on my bipolar and how my anxiety and my depression affects my life and my cycles, so it's kind of new and confusing for a lot of you guys when I speak about it. A lot of you will know already that throughout my pregnancy I've been seeing the mental health team. I've been having regular appointments to the hospital with, like, you know, specialists as well as my midwife and things like that, because as someone that has cyclothymia, depression and anxiety, I am at higher risk of postnatal depression and I'm at higher risk of postpartum psychosis. If you don't know what those things are, Google it. I'm not saying that I will get these things. I'm not saying that, you know, it's inevitable. I don't want people commenting on this video saying then, well, why have kids then, blah blah, whatever, yada yada. It's just reality at the end of the day. That's something that I had to prepare for, and it's better for me to have my connections there and to go to regular appointments and be checked up on, you know, than leave it and just kind of see what would happen, because that's kind of dangerous. And my priority is my daughter, so obviously, like, you know, in order to do what's best for my daughter, I feel like it's important for me to have been in touch with, like, the mental health team and to be seen on a regular basis to make sure that I'm okay. And a lot of people will know that with bipolar disorder you have a chemical hormonal imbalance in your brain, and that's just shit sometimes, to be honest. One of the main reasons I wanted to touch upon this in this pregnancy video was because I've been having a really shit week, and I think that a lot of it is down to pregnancy hormones interlinked with my bipolar cycle. They haven't clashed like this throughout my whole pregnancy. I've been quite lucky. When I've been feeling down, it's normally been because of other people, other situations, other things happening in my life. You know, normal things that people normally get upset over, you know, not things that solely to blame on bipolar. And I'm not one of those people that likes to be like, oh, well, it's my mental illness's fault, or, oh, that's because I have anxiety, or that's because I suffer from depression. The best way for me to explain it is, I see it like this. Some things will affect you 10 times more if you suffer from mental illness. You will have triggers, you will have certain, you know, phases, you'll have certain patterns and routines and things like that. But then also, you know, normal people, like, you know, well, what is fucking normal? No one's normal, but other people that don't have a mental illness will also feel down and feel depressed and be affected by things that happen in their life. So with me, I see it like, if I have a member of family that's ill, it's obviously going to affect me. If something shitty happens to someone I care about, it's going to affect me. Not because I'm bipolar, but because I'm a human being. I don't know if that makes any sense, but because I'm pregnant, this overcomplicates a lot of things. It overcomplicates the fact that I have to distinguish, you know, what's being caused by hormones, what's affecting me as a normal person, and what might be affecting, you know, my bipolar. I need to kind of like separate what's my bipolar, what's my hormones, or how they may be interlinking, if that makes sense. I don't know if any of this is going to make sense to anybody but me. So, back to what I'm trying to say. 4 days ago now, I had a mental health appointment. I think it was 4 days or 3 days ago. And there's two types of appointments that I go to. There's one that's like, you know, on the other side of town, and it's specifically, you know, there's a segment of that part where they have comfy chairs, and you see a counsellor or a therapist or a specific person, and they check on you and see how you're doing and ask you a load of questions, blah blah. And then I have my hospital appointments, which are with a normal doctor / midwife that also specialises in mental illness and things like that as well. Two different types of doctors, and I always get a bit anxious, to be honest, about the other appointments, the ones with the comfy chairs, and that's the only way for me to distinguish the difference between them both, because the comfy chairs in that waiting room to me, kind of just build up this slight anxiety that I'm about to be analysed. It can be even more terrifying because I'm pregnant, really, to be honest. And the reason it's more terrifying because I'm pregnant is because you've always got this constant fear that if you put one foot out of place wrong because you're mentally ill, you're going to be scrutinised for it, you'll have your baby taken from you, or people will deem you a bad parent, and all of this other shit. Now, I see it like, I don't think there should be a stigma against people that have mental illness and have children, because everybody's brain is different. You can't turn around to someone and be like, oh, that person's bipolar, they shouldn't have children, because there's different variants of bipolar disorder, you know, bipolar 1, bipolar 2, and cyclothymia and things like that. And there's many, many different mental illnesses. So when people turn around and say that people with mental illness shouldn't have children, you can do one. You can suck my beep beep. You can, seriously, because we're all so different. It's impossible for you to say, oh, well, she's crazy, she shouldn't have children because she's mentally ill. It's like, well, what's she got wrong with her? Or what's her illness, you know? You can't just turn around and label someone and say they can't have a certain thing in life or experience a certain thing in life because they have a chemical imbalance in their brain. That isn't fair, and it's not for anyone else to say. You get a lot of shit. Like, I get a lot of shit for having colourful hair and being pregnant. I get a lot of shit for, you know, having bipolar and being pregnant. So that's just something I kind of wanted to touch upon. Like, you know, I feel a lot more comfortable in an environment with people that specialise in mental illness as opposed to actual normal doctors and stuff like that, because I feel like they understand you a little bit more and they're less likely to just put a stamp on you, like, you know, oh, she's crazy. You know what I mean? Does that even make any sense? Anyways, I'm going into detail about things that I didn't really originally want to speak about. But either way, I had an appointment, mental health appointment, and it didn't go as well as any of the others did. Like, normally at them I've been quite positive, I've been quite confident. A lot of the time people have been like, oh, you handle yourself really well without medication, or you're doing really, really well. How are the hormones affecting you? Oh, you're doing really well. I've had a lot of positive outcomes throughout most of my mental health checkups, but this one I was really just not in a good mood. I was feeling really down, I was less talkative. She was asking me questions and I just didn't want to be there, to be honest. I really didn't want to be there. And I went with Niall, and me and Niall were having a little bit of an off day, and he was sat with me and he was silent because things have been getting to him a little bit as well recently. And Niall kind of like, I wouldn't say that he suffers from depression, but I'd say that he's got his own problems as well. Like, you know, he can be quite up and down with his moods too. So if we're both in a down spell, it can kind of be a little bit toxic in the sense of I can't pick him up and he can't pick me up because we both have no energy to like help each other, which is kind of scary in a way, but it doesn't really normally happen very often, but it did this time, so it was a bit ugh. I just felt like shit, to be honest. And that's when I kind of put 2 and 2 together and realised that every pregnancy app has been saying to me that, you know, there's certain moments in the pregnancy where baby will just grow through a growth spurt, if that makes any sense. And I think that this week there's definitely been a massive growth spurt. Other things have been going on inside of me as well. That's what all my apps have been saying and stuff. So apparently it's quite normal to feel very hormonal, like, at this stage in my pregnancy. But the way that it kind of got interlaced with my bipolar and my depression was really, really not good this week, like in any shape or form, and it's been really shitty. And today, I'll be completely honest with you guys, I don't feel 100% today either. I feel a bit shit. I don't feel anywhere near as shit as I did yesterday or the day before, but I do still feel relatively shit, and I'll be completely honest with you guys. So that's why I'm not all like woohoo, because I just feel really shit, and I'm not gonna lie to you guys. So I wanted to touch upon this week during pregnancy, like more from a mental health perspective, but also from a baby perspective too. You know, a few other things that I've noticed, but I want to get all the mental stuff out of the way first. So I had my mental health check and I felt really shitty, and that day was when I started to have all of these little spontaneous crying moments, which really sucked, and I felt really sensitive and scared about everything. And I was feeling particularly anxious as well. I went to Manchester yesterday, but originally me and Niall were supposed to go to Manchester the day before, you know, go into town and kind of pick some baby things, you know, have a bite to eat, because we like to try and get out once a week or do something, you know, to kind of just, you know, enjoy each other, you know, before the baby comes and things like that. And it also really helps me and motivates me to have something to look forward to at the end of the week. Pregnant or not, that's something I've always done, because I found that going out and doing something always really helps with my mental state of mind. So we were supposed to go into town on Friday, but that day I got ready really early, I had a shower, I was on the ball, and we got to the bus stop and it started pissing it down with rain, and we were getting soaked, and I was wearing my yellow cardigan, the long dressy cardigan thingy that I showed in an outfit of the day video, which I absolutely love, and it's really, really warm, so that's one of the reasons why I wore it. And I didn't know it was going to rain, or else I would have worn my cagoule or a waterproof coat, so that kind of sucked, and I got drenched, and I was just getting drenched there. Niall was feeling really moody, and for all of you guys that don't know, my boyfriend is a smoker, and if he doesn't have a cigarette for a few hours or a day, he can be really, really irritated really easily. And he didn't have any cigarettes, so he was also really on edge, and he was like, oh fuck it, we'll go to Manchester on Saturday or whatever. And without going into too much detail, I was like, oh, but I need to go to do this and I want to do that, because there's some other things I need to do, like I need to pick up a prescription from Boots in Manchester, and I wanted to do it sooner rather than later, so I wasn't feeling uncomfortable for the next couple of days. So that was really, really annoying. And then he was like, oh, but I can't go tomorrow, so we'll have to go on Saturday. And obviously we didn't go today because today is Saturday. But I couldn't go today because I had other things I needed to do today. So we clashed because he's been really busy for the past 2 weeks and we haven't really spent a lot of quality time together. It was really frustrating for me because all I wanted to do was kind of go into town, get a little bite to eat, spend some time with him, pick up some baby things and pick up my prescription, then come back and like edit my videos and do other things that I've got to do this weekend and other things that I want to do for Yaya this weekend. So it was really, really, really frustrating. And then we had a little bit of an argument, and we never argue, so that was really stressful. We ended up just coming back to my house and we were drenched, and then we had something to eat, and we did a little bit of house hunting because we're currently looking for a place to rent together. That's another thing on my to-do list as well, house hunting. We're looking for a place to rent, and the area that I live in is overpopulated by old people and families, because this is the kind of area you want to bring up your children in. You know, it's a relatively nice area in the sense of there's not like a lot of dickheads, and one of the reasons I want to stay is because it's a good area and I want to bring my daughter up in a good area. I want to feel comfortable that she's in a safe environment, and I also want to be within walking distance of my Yaya because it's very important for me to stay as close to Yaya as possible. You know, I don't want to have to rely on public transport. I don't have a car, so I really want to be able to just walk to her house and be there for her when she needs me, because it's very important that me and Yaya communicate on a regular basis, because we keep each other sane in a way, and I do a lot for her and I love her a lot. So I promised her that I would always be there for her. Now that I'm having a baby, I don't intend to like go back on my promise. Always want to be there for her. I love her so much, and I'm getting teary-eyed now just thinking about it. And she's been struggling a lot recently with her legs. It's just like another weight on my mind. I've just been really, 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 really worried about her too. So we've been going to the doctors a lot for her, and I've been like, you know, having a go at a lot of doctors for being dickheads, you know, because a lot of them were just trying to fob her off when she was in a lot of pain. I wanted to make sure that I was as close to her as possible, but a lot of houses in this area, you know, they'll go on the market and then they'll just like, someone will rent them out straight away or we'll just miss it. A lot of the houses aren't for rent in my area. Most of them are for sale because, like I said, overpopulated by old people and families. What I'm trying to say is this area is pretty damn difficult to find a house in, which is even more frustrating. I decided I could expand from this area and I could live like, you know, in the next town, and I could just walk with the pram and stuff, and that wouldn't be a problem for me, but I wouldn't want to go too far away. Me and I were looking and we found a perfect property. It was affordable, it wasn't too big, you know, it was the right size. Financially it was doable, and oh my god, finally something on the market, you know. And I phoned up straight away, and I can get a little bit anxious when I'm on the phone to people sometimes depending on my mood, and because I was feeling a little bit shitty that day, I was just kind of like, oh no, whew, take a deep breath, Jess, everything's gonna be okay, you know, just call them. So I did, I called them straight away because I didn't want to miss out on this opportunity, and they were like, yeah, we'll call you tomorrow. Someone put an application form through at the moment, but they've been messing us about a bit, so I'll let you know tomorrow which way it swings, blah blah blah. So the next day I waited for them to get back to me and they didn't. I took my mobile with me to town and they didn't get back to me, and I was a bit frustrated, and today I called them up to follow it up, and it turns out we just missed out on it completely. Like, the application processed, it went through, and now the house isn't on the market. And that was the last house in the area, like in my neighbourhood, that wasn't for sale, it was to rent. So that was incredibly upsetting for me and kind of a bit demoralising in the sense of just kind of made me feel really shitty. I'd finally found somewhere affordable in my area, which is really hard, that I could imagine actually like bringing up Baba and living with Niall, and it was really, really upsetting for me to find out that that house had gone. And I know it's kind of soft for me to say I was upset by this because, oh, I'll get to grips, houses go off the market all the time, or another one will come, or whatever, blah blah, but they are really rare in my area, so it is just like fucking hell. So the day that we were looking for houses, I was really hoping that Niall would stay over because I felt like I didn't really want to be alone, but then he had to leave, so he had to cycle home because he had all this shit going on with his cousin. Now it was up to Niall to sort out his cousin's mess. So Niall left, and for the rest of that night I was really just a mess. I was crying, I was feeling really shitty, I was feeling really down. I was feeling anxious about going to Manchester the next day, but I really wanted to go. I felt like I had nothing to look forward to. I felt like I had no one to talk to, and I didn't really feel comfortable with speaking to anybody. And a few people had popped up on Facebook, and I hadn't even clicked in my inbox because I just didn't want to associate with anybody because I just felt like shit. I didn't want to bring anyone else down. And a lot of the time when I feel really, really, really bad, I have a habit of just kind of isolating myself because I just don't feel comfortable putting all of my problems on someone else, because then in the long run they just moan about it or bitch behind your back. So it's kind of like I don't really feel like I can trust anybody anymore, and people just twist everything that I say or delete parts of the convo and then show it to other people and make fun of me. So I just really don't feel like I can trust people anymore, to be honest. So I just kind of felt really shitty about that as well. And then obviously other things too, like I was missing people and I was being hard on myself and I was blaming myself for things, and part of me just kind of wanted to take my Facebook inbox and copy and paste every single thing in there onto fucking the internet so people could see that I wasn't crazy. I've let so many people get away with shit now, and I've just took the blame because I've just been like, fuck it, because there's only so much you can fight for yourself, and I didn't want to stress out the baby. We set off to Manchester and I was sat on the bus and the weather was a little bit better. I just still felt really shitty. Like I felt as though my feet were stuck in sandbags. You know, like someone had just attached rocks and put them in a bag, or like a load of sand attached to my ankles. I just felt really shitty, but I just leant on Niall and I felt a little bit better. I just felt comforted that he was there. We got to town, and by the time we got there, I was feeling really hot and flustered. I wasn't feeling very good because the bus was really stuffy and hot and people were coughing. I was hand sanitising my hands and breathing through my nose because I was paranoid I was going to get ill. A pregnancy symptom that I've had is breathlessness, and I feel as though my lungs are being pushed up now by the baby, which is not the baby's fault, but it's just really frustrating for me because it's like So then I got off the bus and I was just like, ah, fresh air, but I still felt a little bit shitty, and Niall was still a bit moody, so it was just kind of like I was trying to make him feel better as opposed to him trying to make me feel better, which took any positive energy that I had. It really just made me feel worse. And I'm just trying not to go into too much detail with all of this. I'm trying to just touch upon it and my mood and stuff. So then we went and we grabbed a Subway, and I've been addicted to Subway recently. Like, it's a massive pregnancy craving for me. All I seem to be doing at the moment is uploading pictures of my Subway sandwich onto Instagram whenever I have a Subway. Oh, I just love Subway at the moment. All I want is Italian herb and cheese, bacon, ham, lots of olives, lots of peppers, red onions, lettuce, cucumber, and a fuckload of Southwest sauce. Just thinking about it is making me smile. Look, I've perked up because I'm thinking about food. That says it all. So the Subway sandwich made me feel a little bit better. After that, we went and got my prescription sorted and all of that crap, and blah, blah, blah. And then the plan was to go to Primark and have a little look to see if they had any little baby stuff on offers that was good quality. So I wanted to just go and have a look in there, and I just felt so shit, to be honest. I felt really crappy. And then we got in there and we finally got to the bottom floor, and me and Niall just had a disagreement of some sort again because he was being moody, and we just clashed again. And as soon as we got to the bottom floor where all the baby stuff was and the doors opened from the lift, I just kind of wanted to scream and cry. Like, instantly. That's honestly how I felt, and I know that sounds really pathetic to a lot of you that are watching this video, but it was mainly because 2 floors up from that, when we had just come in and we were looking around for the baby section, because I'd never been to the baby section in Primark before, so I didn't really know my way around, and Primark's a really big store. For those of you that don't know, it's just got lots of cheap clothing in it, and some things are really good quality, some things aren't so very good quality, but it's a really good place to go for bargains, basically. And these girls were just staring at me and laughing at me and calling me fat and saying these horrible things, and I snapped. And I don't snap at people very often. I'm a very calm person. I snapped, and I, honest to God, I'm being completely honest with all of you guys now, I wanted to run over and I wanted to kick the shit out of them all because they were being cocky little shits. And there's only so much shit you'll take before you just snap, because you can hear so many people saying negative things about you, and then one day you just snap. You really just snap. They were saying all of these things, and I said really loudly, if I hear one of those twats say another thing about me, I'm gonna throw them down the escalator. And then I didn't hear anything else from that. But I wouldn't normally say that kind of thing, so that just goes to show what kind of mood I was in, that I was going through one of those cycles, those bipolar cycles where, you know, one week I feel really awesome, next week I'm just snappy and like not nice, basically, is the best way to say it. And it takes a lot for me not to be nice, but they were being really, really, really annoying. I said that. Niall said I was being paranoid. And I hate it when people say that I'm being paranoid about anything because it just makes me feel crazy. I hate it when people turn around and they say that. I really do, because you know you're not being paranoid. Like, I could be paranoid about small things, but I'm never paranoid about people saying things or staring at me. That was irritating, and then by the time I got to the baby floor, me and Niall weren't really speaking in the lift. So that just kind of added the stress on top, because when people are ignoring you or aren't speaking to you, but all you really want is a cuddle and to talk about it, doesn't really help at all. So then basically we walked out and I was like picking things up and stuff, and I was trying to talk to Niall about them, and I was trying to, you know, be happy about it, and you know, I was just, because I've been looking forward to like looking in Primark at some baby things, like, you know, and I'm not getting all my baby things from Primark, but I went to get a few little bargains, and I was really looking forward to getting some things, and I felt like it was something really exciting to do together. And he was just having no input whatsoever because he was in a mood, and it was just upsetting for me because I was trying to be excited and I knew I should be excited, and I just felt shit and I felt dull and everything was black. And then that's when the worst thing that could have possibly happened, which just added insult to injury for me. So another thing that I wanted to talk about in this video was the fact that a lot of people won't mention this kind of thing in their pregnancy vlog, but I'm the type of person that doesn't give a shit. I'll be completely honest with you guys. Pregnancy can be pretty, it can be glowing, it's a beautiful thing, you're carrying a little life inside of you, but it can be damn right awkward and embarrassing if you get embarrassed. Now, I'm not the type of person to normally get embarrassed. We were walking around and I didn't think that my day could get any worse, and then I felt this weird sensation on my bladder, and what I kind of felt was I felt baby move onto my bladder. And then I was kind of unsure. I was like, if she gets off my bladder now, am I going to wet myself? Because I didn't feel like I needed to wee. I didn't even need a wee. Like, I'd weed prior to coming into Primark. But I felt this sensation and it was weird, and I was like, oh, please don't move off my bladder, because if you move off my bladder I think that I might leak. And it was terrifying. I was like, please don't leak. And then I thought, I'm gonna have to go to the toilet, you know, and I'm gonna have to sit down and try and have a wee maybe and see if this sensation goes. So then I walked over to an employee and I said, excuse me, do you have any toilets? Oh, we only have toilets for kids. I really desperately need to use the toilet. You know, I'm pregnant, blah, blah, blah. I'm sorry, you'll have to go up to the 3rd floor and then go to Burger King, which is around the corner. And I was like, oh my God, I can't believe this. Like, you know what I mean? Almost 7 months pregnant, I'm being forced to go up another 3 floors. I was like, oh my God. And I kid you not, but as soon as we got to the 3rd floor, I couldn't even make it out of Primark. I felt this sensation and it was horrible. It was the worst thing ever. It wasn't even like, oh, a little bit of a dribble. It was like a weird gush. And I didn't know if it was wee. I didn't know what it was. I didn't even know if my water had broken. And I was terrified. I was like, shit, shit, shit. Then I felt really, really just uncomfortable. And I hadn't told Niall how I felt. I just told him I really needed to go to the bathroom. So he was still being really moody. But I'm the kind of person where I won't be completely open with someone if I don't feel comfortable. And normally that's the kind of thing that I would laugh about. You know, I'd be like, oh shit. And I'd think it's funny, and then afterwards I'd be like, whatever. But I just kind of felt really like closed off. I didn't really feel like I could open up to him about it, which just sounds petty to me now, but that's how I felt. So then I got to Burger King. I had to walk up the stairs. I had to walk up these stairs to get to the bathroom because I wasn't allowed to use the disabled toilet. You know, it doesn't really matter that like I'm pregnant, and I didn't think that I'd make it up the stairs, but I wasn't allowed to use them. So I had to walk up the stairs. Walking up those stairs, and I just felt really damp downstairs, and it was horrible, really horrible. And I got into the bathroom, and luckily for me I'd brought a spare pair of underwear, and I don't really take spare pairs of underwear around with me, but for some strange reason this one occasion I'd actually brought a spare pair of underwear with me. I have no idea why. I think it was to measure sizing, to be honest, but I had a fresh clean pair of underwear in my pocket. So I went into the toilets, and normally there's like locks on doors, you can go in, you know, you can change and everything's fine. None of the locks were working, and there's a woman in there cleaning, and she was cleaning the cubicle with a lock. I said, excuse me, could I use that toilet? She said, I'm sorry, I'm cleaning it. It was like, okay. And the other two didn't have locks, so I had to go in there, I had to pee, then I had to bend down, which is getting more and more harder, take my shoes off, you know, and just basically change, and people walked in and someone laughed at me. I'm stood there with my vagina out, changing my underwear, out of breath, going, trying to bend down, pull my underwear up, pull my pants up and put my shoes on and stuff. And it was ridiculous, the reaction I got off someone that walked into the bathroom. It wasn't, oh, do you need any help? You know, pregnant woman struggling to get her pants on kind of thing. Like, well, I wouldn't expect anyone to help me. I would have said no anyway, but I wouldn't have wanted someone to come in and laugh and stand there and stare at me while my vagina's out. Like, it's just, and I shouldn't have even had to be in that position anyway. I should have been able to use the disabled toilets or the children's toilets in Primark. You know, it was just ridiculous. It was so annoying. And the cleaning lady was really rude too, so that didn't help my day anymore, and it just kind of made me feel really embarrassed. And normally I'm the type of person that doesn't get embarrassed by anything. Like, you know, I am not a shy person. I am very, very open, and I'm talking about this on the internet, for fuck's sake, so that says it all. I've sat back a bit. This is what happens when it goes really, really dark and you're making a video. I've got my lamp and my laptop lighting me up at the moment, and a pillow, because my back is so sore. That was really shitty, and then I walked out of the Burger King toilets feeling really embarrassed. My mood was even more deflated than it already was, and then Niall was still giving me silent treatment, so that just made me feel even shittier, to be honest. So then I felt really alone and shitty, and I didn't know what to do. After that, I kind of just felt really shitty, but I was still so determined to just kind of like go back into Primark, go and get a few things, because that's one of the main reasons why I went there in the first place. And they had quite a few things reduced, so I really wanted to check them out. And I picked up a few things, and it kind of made me feel a little bit better, but I still felt really, really shitty. And then we eventually left Manchester, got on the bus, and I still felt really shitty. I'd just been on and off crying all day, to be honest. And Niall hadn't really been comforting me at all, because he was in his own negative bubble. And I don't want anyone commenting on this video and saying that Niall was a dick, by the way. Like, I don't want anyone to like insult my boyfriend or anything like that, because at the end of the day, he had his own issues going on in his head, so he couldn't really help me. And that's not his fault, really, when you think about it. We got to his flat because I was being picked up at his flat by my granddad, my bapu. I'd bought like this waffle covered in chocolate from Burger King, and I ended up leaving it at his house, and I got in the car and I realised on the way back I'd left it there, and I was really gutted because I'd been looking forward to it, really excited for it, and I couldn't just tell Niall to put it in the fridge so I could reheat it, because it's the kind of thing you can't reheat when you're pregnant. And I got home and I cried about it. I cried about a fucking waffle, and I just felt really shitty. I was feeling alone. I wished Niall was there with me. Like, you know, all I wanted was to be having a cuddle and watching a film, and instead I was alone and I didn't really want to talk to anyone. Well, I did. I really wanted to speak to someone, but I didn't want to speak to someone on Facebook, if you understand what I'm saying. That was last night, and I just spent a lot of last night crying and feeling shit and worried about things, because I've got other things playing on my mind as well. I'm house hunting, I'm doing all these other things. Still really sad to know that my dad doesn't want anything to do with me because of the father of my child. And Niall never did anything wrong to him, so it's just kind of like, so I'm going to kind of try and wrap it up a little bit, because I've been speaking for absolutely ages. I have no idea if I'm going to even post this video, to be honest. If I do post this video, then I'll be very surprised, because I've just ranted on a lot in it. But yeah, the bottom line is I've just been having a really, really shit time with my hormones and my moods. And I kind of feel like I'm on my way out of this bipolar down cycle now, which is good. I'm starting to feel a little bit better. Speaking to you guys has made me feel a little bit better. Less crazy, even though I'm kind of just speaking to myself really until this video goes online. I just kind of wanted to talk about the things that people might not mention in regards to their pregnancies, especially in pregnancy vlogs, because I want to be completely honest with you guys about my experiences. Hormones and bipolar don't mix very well. I don't want people to feel put off by their mental state of mind and pregnancy and things like that, because I know for a fact that one of the things that scared me the most about finding out I was pregnant was how it might affect my bipolar and things like that. So I just kind of want to talk about that a little bit in this video, and how it's okay to feel like shit, and it's okay to have the downs and the ups and all of these things. And I've just been feeling really, really anxious this week, and all over the place, and crying a lot, and not feeling very happy about anything, and it's a bit depressing really. But last night as well, I was lying down and I was feeling really shitty, and I kind of put my hand on my tummy, and I kind of just started talking to my belly, and I just kind of said to her, I was like, I hope I've not stressed you out too much. I'm sorry that I've been so stressed this past week. And she kicked my hand, so it was kind of like she was listening. It was probably like, stop talking to me, I'm trying to sleep. But the fact she kicked my hand, it kind of just made me feel a little bit better. You know what I mean? Like, it's okay, don't worry about it. It's alright for you to feel down every now and then. Other things that I want to touch upon other than my mental state of mind. Lower back pain has been a bitch. Also, I think I was headbutted or kicked in my stomach last night, and acid came up, and I didn't even think that was possible, so I propped my head up with a pillow, and then that helped and I managed to fall asleep. So yeah, that's kind of quite a massive update considering the fact that it's only been a week, but it's been like a week from hell. For all you guys that are wondering, you know, how me and Niall are doing, we're fine, you know. We just kind of spoke about it and he said that he was having a really tough time and he had a lot of shit on his mind and stuff and he didn't mean to take it out on me and that he's sorry and that he loves me and baby and blah blah blah. And he just kind of wishes that he could do more, because a lot of people in this position are married and have a house and all of these things and stuff, and me and Niall are kind of working with what we've got. Sometimes you just need someone, and there's nothing worse than feeling alone, and there's nothing worse than feeling alone and pregnant. And I kind of just really miss my dad as well in a way. I just kind of really wish that my dad hadn't done what he did. I really wish that my dad could, like, you know, find in his heart to forgive me for choosing to keep my child and not have such a stigma against it. And I think that my dad needs to realise that I've been supporting myself, you know, for so many years now. I've been doing everything for myself anyway, and that I'm a grown adult and I'm not 12 and it's not a teenage pregnancy and it wasn't due to irresponsibility and, you know, all these horrible things. I don't like the fact that I'm judged by so many people on a daily basis anyway, you know, that being judged and feeling like an outcast within your family, you know, I should be able to go and speak to my dad about anything, and my dad hasn't bothered. He's expecting an apology from me, and I'm not going to apologise for being pregnant, and I'm not going to apologise for him having a problem with it, because that's not my problem, that's his problem. And he has a problem with the fact that I'm not married. He has a problem with the fact that I'm 22, almost 23, even though a lot of people have children at this age. He has a problem with my boyfriend, even though Niall's never done anything to him. He just has lots of problems, and it's funny because all of the stuff that I've done on my own and I've accomplished, he seems to forget. So he only really thinks about the negatives, and that really sucks. And a lot of other people in this position, they have like their mum and things like that, and I have Yaya. My Yaya's my like mum and my dad, and that's why I love her so much. And that's kind of just why I get a bit emotional, really, because I just want to do everything that I could possibly do for her. But at the same time, I worry about other things. I've just been feeling really worried this week, you know, because all I want to do is what's best for the people that I care about, and that can get scary when you feel so alone. Whew. Depression isn't pretty, and pregnancy is a beautiful thing, it's a beautiful gift, but it does come with its struggles and its battles and things. And I suppose in a way, for me, the worst thing in the world is missing people that don't give a shit about you or think that you're someone that you're not. I just kind of wish that the people that I love and I care about so much felt that way towards me. I spend so much time trying to make other people happy a lot of the time. Sometimes I can let myself slip into a shitty mood or a shitty cycle, and it sucks. And I suppose in a way I just really wanted to say thank you to each and every single one of you that has been there for me throughout this pregnancy. You know, your comments really do mean a lot to me. I feel like you're there, and it's really comforting to know there's people out there that care about me. It's really nice for me to come on here and talk to you guys and, you know, share my pregnancy, and a lot of you are so excited and happy for me as well that it really does make such a difference to me. It makes me feel so much better because people in my life don't agree with the fact that I'm having this baby, and it can get stressful sometimes, but all that really matters to me is doing what's best for my baby and, you know, having a healthy relationship with my boyfriend, and that's all that matters really to me. So sometimes I just feel like I have to put on a brave face and get on with it and do everything that I need to do. I suppose in a way one of the reasons I wanted to make this video was because I didn't want you guys to just think that it's been really easy and I've just breezed through pregnancy, because even though I feel like I've been really lucky with my hormones and my moods, they have affected me this week, and I wanted to be completely honest about it. This is the first time I've felt really down, out of control, and even though I've had segments of my pregnancy where I felt quite alone, as hard as it is, I'm going to keep going, because at the end of the day, something that's keeping me going right now is knowing that, like, I have this little life inside of me and I want to do what's best for her. And another thing that really scares me is the idea she might have like a brain like me, and that she might feel like this, and that's terrifying. But it's good to know that if she does end up with my brain, instead of feeling shitty and blaming myself for it, I know that I can be there for her. And the most important thing when you feel like shit is to have someone there that loves you and understands you. And for example, my dad never really understood my mental illness and he always just brushed it off, and feeling that kind of stigma from your own father sucks. And I suppose in a way, like, you know, having people judge you for things 24/7, or like, you know, having people think that you're a person that you know you're not every day, it really sucks. If you're out there and you're in a similar position to me, or you know, you're struggling with your hormones and anxiety or depression and you're pregnant, know that you're not alone. And the most comforting thing to me is, even though I feel really alone, like this week, I have like this little life inside me that's depending on me, and in a way that helps, because that stops you from being selfish, stops you from wanting to self-harm, it stops you from even thinking about suicide. And even though I went on a really long walk and I was just like out of breath and I was like, ugh, you know, I didn't really put anyone in danger. It was just exercise and feel a little bit better about everything. So I'm gonna stop talking now, because I've been speaking for so long in this video that people would have clicked off by now. Life can get really shit sometimes, but most importantly, people can be equally as shit too, and you can't always be the person that everyone expects you to be 24/7, because we all just feel fragile sometimes. And the most important thing that I can turn around and say to you guys is that as shitty as you feel, there's someone else that's feeling the exact same way that you are. And I think another thing that's been really depressing me and getting me down is that a lot of my closest friends are in America, and I'm not in a position to go to America right now, you know. I'm wearing a really thick jumper, so yeah. This is the bump. Getting quite big now. This is the biggest jumper known to man, by the way. I look huge, even though I'm probably not even that big. Woo! I'll insert any pictures that I have towards the end as well of this video. This week's been really shitty, so normally in bipolar land that means next week's gonna be fucking amazing. Because after every low like this, normally I feel this really amazing high. I love you all. Someone's calling me. So that's my cue to leave. Bye!